Well, today we are going to work on a planter box. Now, I'm not a planter box professional by any means. This is one of those items that woodworkers and others make for the springtime because they're like super popular to build them and sell them in all different sizes. Most people use the cedar fence pickets, but for whatever reason here in Massachusetts and I don't know, New England, I can't find cedar fence pickets anywhere. So I picked up the pressure treated pine. I know there's a lot of misconceptions and folklore, I guess, about pressure treated material. It used to be pretty bad like 20 years ago when they put arsenic in it and all that stuff. I think they use like some sort of copper now for antifungal and all that stuff. But we're not going to be growing any food in it. We're not going to be sitting in it or on it. We're just going to put some flowers in it and most likely just using a set-in bucket of flowers. So I did make, I've made one, and I guess I'll put a picture up here of what it's going to look like. And that was the first one I made. And it came out pretty good. I was a little crooked on one of the boards, but I was on the bottom, so you're not really going to see it anyway. And then my top frame was probably like a 1/4 inch too small all the way around. But still, it came out really good. So we're going to make another one today because the other half wants two. So I'm using the plans from Who's the Boss. It's another YouTube woodworker. He's got lots of planter box plans available on his YouTube. So we're going to use this one. This is the cut sheet, and then it has a video tutorial here you can scan. So I want to thank Who's the Boss for giving out these plans. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure these are ripped to size. So they have to be 5.5 inches, and I think they're already like pretty close to that. Maybe like a 1/4 inch. I didn't really prepare to bring all my stuff over here. So they need to be 5.5 inches wide. Yeah, they're 5 5/8, so we got to rip a little bit off. And then we're going to rip some at 1 3/4 inch. Yeah, and then we're going to do all the table saw stuff now. I need to rip one board at 1 3/4, so you should get 3 slices out of that. And then the other 2 boards, this is a three picket planter. So the other 2 boards, and then we're just going to rip them at 5.5 inches, and then we'll get the miter saw set up and cut them all to length. So let me get the ripping, and it is pressure treated, so make sure you wear your mask. I have glasses. That's better than no eye protection. And we're going to use this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rip these 2 to 5.5. Come on, get off there. Grasshopper or cricket or something. Some sort of bug. Oop. Now, when I built this one originally last week, I forgot to rip it to 5.5 inches first. So then I had to send all the chopped up pieces through the table saw and rip them down. So I think it'll be easier. Just rip the full length now and then chop it up. You know, the small shop here because I got to put the table saw away. Hopefully we get the other half of this cleaned up here soon. All right, so I got this marked out. They're like 5 3/8 right? So I want to make it 5.5, so I just got to rip like an eighth of an inch off. And like I said, it's being pressure treated. I'm just going to go ahead and wear the mask. This mask here, this is an RZ mask, and I got this. I got this for the holidays. Came with a pouch, a couple of filters. Very comfortable. You know, and I like that kind of Ryobi color. As you can tell, my ear protection and my mask here, but I'll put a link in the description below to these things if you want to take a peek at them. The RZ mask, they have a few different versions and they're really, really comfortable. Okay, so I got that all measured out. So it's going to rip this into 5.5 times 2. There wasn't much to it. Okay, well, I ripped 3 of them into 5.5. And this one here has got a split down towards the bottom, right in the middle of the board. So we'll keep that aside for spare parts as well. I mean, it's only maybe like a third of the board. So I got this one and the other one ripped down to 5.5. Now the measurements may fluctuate a little bit depending on the pickets. Like this first one, it's also kind of cracked down there. You know, kind of tapers off at the top. So it's not exactly 5.5 towards the top, but you know, 5.5 all the way down. So, I mean, they're fence pickets. They don't make them, you know, to be precise. But we'll see what we can do with them. So the next one needs to be ripped down to 1.75 inches. So 3 boards at 1.75 inches. Okay. All right, so I got 1.75 inches marked out on here. So we're going to rip 3 at 1.75 inches. Or as close to it as possible. All right, well, it is kind of difficult trying to rip 6 feet of board by yourself, especially with no really outfeed table or infeed table. But anyway, we get it done one way or the other. So I got those ripped. See, I ripped 3 at 5.5 inches, and then I did one board into 3 at 1.75 inches each. So now we can put the table saw away. and get out the miter saw. So it's going to take me a few minutes. I got to put this away, get some sawhorses out, make a table, and then I'll be right back. Now, according to the plans from Who's the Boss, we got to chop these up into, so we got 12 and 3/4. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. 4 at 14 inches. And then with the 1 3/4 inch, those are going to be 16 inches. All of them, we need 2, 4, 6, 8 of those. And then there's one at 12 and 3/4. So let's take, so what we're going to do is we're going to square off the end, and then we're going to measure out. So these are the 1 3/4, so we're going to do 16 inches. One, 2, 4, 6, 8 of those. And I'm going to set up kind of a stop block and try to cut both at the same time. Going to square off the ends first. $16 inches. All right, so I'm just gonna measure them out. It's flush. I'm gonna do 16. So we'll just use one of these to mark out the next cut. Well, those are the 1 3/4 at 16 inches. We got 8 of those. All right, next. So we got the 16-inch pieces cut. We need 2, 4, 6 at 12 3/4. Twelve and 3/4. Somehow, so this would be a good one. All right, now we need 4 at 14. These are not like prime pieces of wood. You know, they're supposed to be made into fences. It's got knots in it, all that good stuff. This one I think just misses the knot. But that's what makes these rustic planter boxes, right? Then we need a 12 3/4. 12 3/4 of the 1 3/4. So we need 1 12 3/4 out of here. And we'll just measure it out with this guy, since this is the same size. And then this is going to be used to make the top with the mitered edges. So we'll set that aside for now. All right, we're going to try to get right through this, get this planter box assembled. Need some wood glue. I'm using 1-inch brad nails. Okay, so I'm using wood glue, 1-inch brad nails to assemble this. So first thing we're going to do, set these little guys aside. Take your 14-inch ones. See which side looks the best to you. And put them face up. That's going to be the outside of your box. And then we're going to take some wood glue. Make sure these are flush. So we're going to put some wood glue on the sides. And then we're going to take your legs. And we'll flush it to the top and the side. Like so. And then we're going to tack it down with some brad nails. So let's put some wood glue on here. You don't have to go crazy with the glue. Or crazy glue. Anyway. Just give it a good bead all the way down. You don't have to smooth it out or move it around. Just make sure your boards are flush when you put it together. I like this side. So what I did on the last one, which was also the first one, is I took care of the top first. I made sure that was flush to the top and the side. And then I press it down. I'm going to shoot a brad nail in the top. And one in the bottom of that board. And then I'm going to flush the side with the bottom board. That looks good there. Squeeze that down. Same thing, brad nail on the top and bottom. And then I'm going to go through and put 2 more in. So we got 3 brad nails on each board. 6 together, 6 all together on the leg. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Put a good bead of glue down here. Flush the top and the side. Hit it with a couple brad nails. This is not the best table to be using. It kind of flexes in the middle, but we work with what we have. That looks pretty good there. And you have that. That's going to be one of your sides. So you're going to go ahead and make the same thing again. Take your other 2 14-inch boards. I'm running out of glue. I just bought some more though. Should have plenty to get me through this. Flush it to the top and the side. Brad nails. Okay, now you have your two pieces there. Next, stand this up. Not very easy on this table. We'll use a couple of these guys. So you want to put a bead of glue down here and on the leg. Then you're going to take this guy and you're going to flush them up. So there's going to be like a little lip here once you get it flush and assembled. I might have to run home and get the other glue. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put some brad nails in it. So again, make sure it's flush with the top and the side of this board. Just make sure your bottom's flush too. So I got 5 nails all the way down that one. Do the same thing on the other side. Make sure it's flush all the way around. How many nails was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. Put a big one down here at the end. Try to keep it all the same, you know. Got a little bit of glue squeeze out there, not a big deal. You can wipe that up real quick. Set this aside, do the same thing to this one. Come on. All right. Now that we almost put it together backwards, we can work on the inside. So, and these are rustic, you know, unless you're planing them down and sanding them down and all that good stuff, you know, the way that they're made, they're not really made to be, you know, fine pieces of furniture or anything like that. You know, it may be a little wonky or warped or, you know, but you just do the best you can with it. So for the inside, so you want that little lip is going to be on the inside both ways, and then you're going to use the small 12 and 3/4 inch boards. They're going to sit on that lip, and you can put some wood glue on there and then tack them in with the brad nail. I'm going to put this here. Kind of something to help keep me straight. Put some glue on the inside. Not all the way down, because you're just going to do 2. Now I'm going to start at the top. I'll flush it up. Make it flush, kind of squeeze it together a little. Stick some brad nails in. Like I said, not the best table to work on. That first one didn't go in all the way. Yeah, I did one extra there, but alright, flip it over. You can do the same thing on the other side. The other side is going to be a little more awkward to try and get in with the gun, but you can do it. Cool, cool, cool. There you have your box. A little bit of glue. So for the bottom, well, this is your frame here. So your bottom, you want to flip it over. And then we're going to take these 2 boards. So you're going to take your other 2 12 3/4 ones. We're going this way. Alright, so we're not going to use glue on the bottom. We're just going to nail it in. Make sure it's nice and flush. This one's kind of bowed. So we're going to do the best we can with it. Plus it is also the bottom. And we're just going to use brad nails in here. I'm going to go one in the top, one in the bottom. I'm going to come at it from the side as well. we gotta get this side. Next. I just put a couple extra in, just for the long run. Make sure nice and stable. And then the last piece, before we get to the top, is the small one that needs to be shaved as well. A couple nails on that end. Spin this around. I lost it. I lost it on the inside. We'll have to do it this way. It wants to be difficult. And there's your box. Now, oh, that looks pretty good, huh? It's definitely a lot easier to make it when I don't have to record. Just because it's, you know, I got this awkward table set up and everything else. But we get it done. The next thing you want to do is you take your leftover 1 3/4. You want to measure your top here, which is about 15.5. So I think you want to do your 45s, like right around 15 3/8 maybe. The 45s from the frame on the top, you got to find out what works best for your measurements. Yeah, I have the measurements here in a cut sheet, you know, but the way the pickets are and the way the pickets come, they don't always end up the exact size that you're cutting. They could be warped, they could be turned a little bit, they could be the right size, but they may be, you know, bowed or whatever. So I'm gonna, like on the last one I did, I cut the 45s, I think at 15. So that's going to leave a little bit of lip all the way around. And I'm trying to make it match the other one. So I'm going to try to leave that little lip like the last one. But you want to make sure, however you want to do it, you can just do square pieces. You don't have to do 45s. So I'm going to try to make it match the last one I did. So which means cutting it a little bit short. So you set your miter saw over to 45. And then just put it right on the edge. It's like you're, you know, like you're squaring up the board. So you're just gonna throw a quick 45 on the end, right? Then flip it over because you want your 45s facing the same way. Now I'm going to go long point to long point. So long point, which is the point here, and I'm going to go 15, what did I say, 15 and a quarter. All right, so it works. It works fine. You just got to trim it up a little bit. Anyway, so you are going to use the wood glue on this and the brad nails. All right, so I'm just going to fiddle around with this, see how we look. All right, so the camera stopped recording again. The last, I think, was cut off was I was cutting the 45s for the top of the planter box. I think these are like 15.5 inches long to long. So you just got to play around with your measurements a little bit. So I put some wood glue and then some brad nails all the way around. I'm going to drill 5 holes in the bottom for drainage. We're not putting any soil or anything in here. We're just dropping the buckets in. But it does help to have a little bit of extra drainage than just the cracks between the two or the 3 pieces of wood. So if you have the holes in there, it just helps. I'm going to put a coat or 2 of the Thompson's water seal on it, just because I want to kind of preserve these, the color that they are. You're not going to prevent them from turning brown, but you can make them last a little bit longer. And just so we have them for years to come. Fence pickets are about $3 from the big box store. I'll pop it up on the screen. I don't know what we're going to make next, but since this video is